Hello, James. My name is Zoe. What do you do?
I'm a graduate student at Berkeley.
I don't go to Berkeley, although I aspire to. Right now, I'm a digital artist. Have you ever felt passed over for an employment position based on your appearance or the way you speak?
No.
That's good. I have experienced that. Especially since my disability. Before my disability, getting a job was fairly easy. I never had a moment of unemployment, but since the disability, having to help people see past that, it takes a lot more energy than just showing them that I'm able to do their required tasks in a timely manner and in a safe way. I was in a car accident.
Right.
Now I have seizures. They don't happen so often, but the accident was in 2000. So often enough so that I end up looking and sounding like I've been bashed around a bit, because I have, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
It
that,
sounds
that,
like it.
that doesn't limit my capabilities. It does limit other people's expectations of what I'm able to do, or it changes whether or not they think I'm one of the people that's allowed to be doing that task.
How many times do you think you've been passed over for a job because of your disability?
I would probably say in the past 15 years, probably about 4 or 5 times, but it was only based on me not being the sort of person that they want doing their work. It is a major hurdle trying to convince other people that I am hireable. It's probably not just because of my disability, it's probably because of my age, and I'm just not like everybody else, so I don't have the same chances. I have to convince other people that I'm able to do the work and that my presence is a benefit, and that's the challenge, because not everybody understands a person like me.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's rough, but it is. And it could change. It could change with people simply
I hope so.
seeing the reality of a situation and not their initial cognitive assessment, because we really don't know till we get to know each other. We really don't know until we talk.
Absolutely. Were you told by your parents that you were smart, beautiful, and capable of achieving anything you wanted?
No. My parents repeatedly told me how dysfunctional I was going to be in the world because I wasn't doing exactly what they wanted. They had me pretty much convinced that I wasn't really worth the air that I was breathing, and that was a really rough start to my life, because I had to convince myself that I could do whatever I wanted to do, and it took a lot of trial and error, and for a while I wallowed. I ended up staying with friends on their couches or in their basements, or, well, I was pretty much homeless, bouncing around.
What did your parents want you to do?
Not be myself, pretty much. I've been gender non-congruent for my entire life. I was born with a problem in my genitalia where it didn't match everybody else's genitalia. So during my childhood, I had trouble identifying with what they wanted me to be, which was male. I tried to live as male, and I failed. Also, there was a situation with my parents where their friends sexually abused me, and there was a big hassle trying to get that managed, and it was apparently my fault for blaming people for doing things they didn't do. So that was a big problem.
Wow. Okay. And then the follow-up. How did this impact where you are today? I mean,
Well, there was a long period where I had to figure that out myself. Other people saw that I was capable, and it just took a longer start to get to the same place. So I think I'm there, in spite of not having that push. Have you ever been a victim of physical violence based on your gender?
no. Have you?
Yes. Yes, I have. All throughout my life, several several times, several different people. Two men attacked me one night while I was walking home from getting pizza. This was just a couple years ago. And they did horrible things to me and they beat me up. Because of my gender issues, I'm certain that gave my parents clearance to beat the demons out of me. It's kind of shaken the confidence that I've had. I know that there was a time in my life when I felt that I could walk around freely and not fear violence. But that time has passed. And now instead of being able to look at all my fellow humans with love, I have to look around and think, am I safe? Have you ever experienced anything, violence or
No.
As a man with long hair walking down the street, no one has ever hassled you?
I've gotten called a hippie plenty of times. There's just absolutely nothing offensive to me about that at all. Just couldn't care less when someone calls me a hippie.
I'm a hippie.
and then, of course, Jesus. I get Jesus a lot.
Really?
Again, just not offended, really.
Do you feel invisible in the world as you move about? Like you know you're safe and you don't expect violence, verbal or emotional or physical of any sort?
Because I'm a man?
Because you're a white man. Because you're a young white man.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. I feel relatively safe as I move through the world. Was it assumed from a young age that you would go to college?
No. No, it was barely assumed that I would go to school. My mother was the first person in her family to graduate from high school. The only college that I had is because I forced myself to go. I took out the loans. I did it myself. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your mother totally expected you to go and
Yeah.
assisted you?
Yeah.
Pointed you in the right direction?
Mm-hmm.
Grounded you on days you should be grounded to do your homework?
Maybe not that. But yeah, she definitely, it was assumed that I was going to go to college, and she definitely did everything she could to help me get there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is a form of privilege, knowing that you're going to go no matter what.
Of course.
Um,
Of course. It's a huge form of privilege.
I had to fight for that privilege. I didn't realize that it could be mine. I had to fight for it. Mm-hmm. Well, James, what do you think privilege is?
Privilege is, I think, it's traits that you possess, usually, I think, somewhat naturally from your environment that you grew up in. It's either the way you're born, who you're born as, the environment you grow up in, socioeconomic status, and it's all these that determine how far I think you're going to be able to go in the world and how successful you're going to be, how many doors are open for you. And really, unfortunately, I think the saddest thing to acknowledge is that it a lot of the time determines your self-worth.
I wonder if I would feel the same if I were a tall, young white man. The idea of privilege is a little bit different because I have had the opportunity to be different people. I have experienced the world as a young, healthy man. I experienced the world as a young, healthy woman. Also as a disabled woman. Also as a disabled woman that is no longer attractive or desirable. Also, as a poor person, I experienced the world as a wealthy person for a while, and I experienced the world as a homeless person. I have seen myself gain and lose privilege. I never really thought of it as privilege. It was more about fear of being in an environment or not having the fear. I lost my keys to the world when my body changed, when my age changed, and when my physical ability changed. I didn't realize that this thing called privilege existed so strongly and I would lose it until it was gone. And then when I had fear walking down the street, I realized that I had lost something that had given me the ability to walk down the street without fear. I had lost my privilege.